Welcome, Earthlings. Get ready for a ride into the intergalactic mind of the one and only Elon Musk. Today, we've got an interview that's breaking the internet faster than SpaceX's Starship breaks through the atmosphere. Strap in as Musk takes us on a cosmic journey of wit, wisdom, and, well, a fair bit of give yourself. Yes, you heard that right. In this exclusive and viral interview, Elon Musk leaves no stone unturned and no expletive unspoken. It's the unfiltered, uncensored, and unforgettable conversation that's got the world buzzing. Buckle up, because this is Elon Musk like you've never seen him before. This is the interview that has everyone saying, did he really just say that? Brace yourselves for a roller coaster of insights, laughter, and maybe a few jaw-dropping moments. This is the Elon Musk interview that's gone viral, and it's time to find out why. Let's dive in.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself. But go fuck yourself. Is that clear? And what I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil. Fuck them. Okay?
CEO of X, Elon Musk.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us throughout the day. And I couldn't be more pleased to sit with Elon Musk as our final interview of this remarkable time we've all had together. He doesn't need much of an introduction, but I want to say a couple things. He's the richest person in the world. He may very well be the most consequential individual in the world right now. He runs the most innovative companies in the world: Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, which is part of that, Neuralink, the Boring Company, X, and his X.AI. And he's disrupted each of these lanes. He's moved at breakneck speeds, but he's faced a storm of controversy in the process. He joins us today following a visit, as you all know so well, and we discussed earlier, on Monday to Israel, where he met with the Prime Minister there and the President of Israel. And we're going to talk about everything. And my hope is that we can talk about how he thinks, about his influence, about his power, about all of it. And we're going to talk about innovation and everything else. I want to say just two other things real quick.
Sure.
We met each other for the first time 16 years ago.
Yeah, it's a long time.
It's been a long time. And
all those kids were 3.
when we first met, I think you were about to deliver your first Roadster. I don't think you had yet. Larry Page was still waiting to get one.
Like 2007?
2007, 2008. And I remember
it was delivered 2008.
I remember going back to the newsroom and saying, I think I just met the next Steve Jobs.
Really?
And
okay,
I'm going to hold to that.
Okay.
I'm going to hold to that. But a lot has happened between when I first met you and now. You came to DealBook.
Not been boring, that's for sure. Wait, actually, technically, I do have a boring company.
2012, you came to DealBook and sat on this stage, and we're thrilled to have you back. But there's been so much that's happened between now and then, and there's been so much that's happened in the past week and a half. And a lot of folks, and I want to tell you this.
Hell of a year.
A lot of folks called me up and said, you really going to host Elon Musk here? Can you believe what he just said on Twitter? On X. On X.
Yeah. No idea what this Twitter thing is you keep talking about.
Should you platform him? That's what they said.
Yeah.
Should you platform him? And I said that I think that it's our role, and I know you have issues with journalists.
I have a platform.
I know you have an issue with journalists oftentimes, but I said it's our role to have conversations and to inquire and to sometimes even interrogate ideas. And
sure.
I'm hoping we can do that. So I want to start just so we can begin this conversation and just level set. Take us through everything that happened, if you could.
Everything?
No, over the past week and a half.
How long have you got?
We've got the time.
Okay.
You send out a post or an X or a tweet.
Yeah,
I don't know what
post,
you want to describe
whatever,
it as.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to change, like, when things were just 140 characters, it made sense to call them a tweet, because there's like a bunch of little birds chirping. But when, the point at which you can put like 3-hour videos on, it's like, it's a very long tweet.
So here we are.
Post is more descriptive, I think.
And at some point, I don't know where you were, but you write in responding to another tweet.
Yes.
This is the actual truth. And it set off a firestorm of criticism all the way to the White House.
Right.
And then you make this trip to Israel. You have advertisers who've left the platform. People calling
the trip to Israel is independent of it wasn't some apology tour. I want to be clear. That was.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. So just take us back to the moment at which you write that.
Trip to Israel is independent of. It wasn't in response to that at all.
Well, we'll do Israel in just a moment.
And I have no problem being hated, by the way.
I hear
Hate
you.
away.
Well, but you know what? Let's go straight to that then for a second.
Sure.
Because there is an idea, and you could say that
I think
you
it's a real weakness to want to be liked. A real weakness. I do not have that.
Well, let me ask you this then. There's a difference between saying I don't care if anyone likes me or they hate me.
Yeah.
But given your power and given what you have amassed and the importance you have, I would think you want to be trusted. I would think maybe you don't need to be liked or hated, but trusted matters. If X is going to become a financial platform where people are going to put their money, where the government's going to give you money for rockets, where people are going to get into the cars, they need to ultimately decide that you are. Maybe they don't have to decide that they love you, but that you are ultimately a decent and good human being.
Yes, I mean, I think I am, but I'm certainly not going to do some sort of tap dance to prove to people that I am. So as for trust, I mean, I think we break that down in a few ways. If you want satellites sent to orbit reliably, SpaceX will do 80% of all mass to orbit this year. China will do 12%. The rest of the world will do 8%. That includes Boeing, Lockheed, and everyone else. So the track record of the rocket is the best by far of anything. You could hate my guts you could not trust me. It is irrelevant. The rocket track record speaks for itself. With respect to Tesla, we make the best cars. Whether you hate me, like me, or indifferent, do you want the best car or do you not want the best car? So I will certainly not pander. And Jonathan, the only reason I'm here is because you are a friend. What was my speaking fee?
You're not making any. First of all, I'm Andrew, but
yeah, sorry,
it's okay. Second of all, we've known each other for a very long time.
I'm talking. Yes.
And
listen, what I'm trying to illustrate is that sometimes I say the wrong thing.
I think there are a lot of people who are tired, but let me go back. No.
You should hear the sketches that SNL wouldn't post, by the way. Those are really good.
And I would say, unfortunately, or fortunately or unfortunately, whatever friendship we have, not great. We don't talk to each other that much. But let me ask you this. It's true. That's true.
Where am I?
Doesn't return the phone calls.
Yeah. The point is, I'm here because you're a friend, not because I'm being paid or because I need any validation or anything. It's that we've been friends for 16 years. And I promised you I'd be here, and that's why I'm here.
Well, I appreciate you being here.
Not for any other reason.
But let me ask you this then. Let's just go at it. Just tell me what happened. You write this tweet that says that this is the actual truth. People read that tweet.
Yes. And
they say Elon Musk is an anti-Semite. That he is riling up this base. You're hearing it from, as I said, the White House. You're hearing it from Jewish groups all over. I think Jonathan Greenblatt from the ADL is here. There's lots of people who say this. And by the way, it's not just that.
Did you read the whole thing?
I did, and that's why I want to ask you about it.
And the responses?
Excuse me?
I said more.
More responses?
Yeah, I said more than what you just read.
Yes. No, there was absolutely more.
Yes.
But I'll tell you the thing that struck me. It wasn't, and I'm an American Jew. It wasn't just the people who had that view. It was actually people who really are anti-Semites, who said, "Oh my goodness, go Elon! This is fabulous." And that actually was the thing that really set me back. And I said to myself, "What's going on here?" And I want to know how you felt about that in that moment when you saw all of this happening.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I did clarify almost immediately what I meant. I would say that was, if I could go back and say I should, in retrospect, not have replied to that particular person, and I should have written in greater length as to what I meant. I did subsequently clarify it in replies, but those clarifications were ignored by the media, and essentially I handed a loaded gun to those who hate me, and arguably to those who are anti-Semitic. And for that, I'm quite sorry. That was not my intention. So I did, post on my primary timeline to be absolutely clear that I'm not anti-Semitic, and that I, in fact, if anything, am philo-Semitic. And the trip to Israel was planned before any of that happened. It was neither here nor there. Do you see this thing? Mm-hmm. Do you know what it is?
I do, because I actually followed your entire trip to Israel.
Great.
Why don't you tell everybody?
This says bring them home. The hostages. It was given to me by the parents of one of the hostages. And I said I would wear it as long as there was a hostage still remaining. And I have.
What was that trip like? And obviously, you know that there's a public perception that, and you're clarifying this now, but there's a public perception that was part of a apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today.
I hope they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself.
But
go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
Well, let me ask you then.
That's how I feel. Don't advertise.
How do you think then about the economics of X? If part of the underlying model, at least today, and maybe it needs to shift, maybe the answer is it needs to shift away from advertising. If you believe that this is the one part of your business where you will be beholden to those who have this view, what do you do?
F-Y.
I understand that, but there's a reality too, right?
Yes. No.
I mean, Linda Yaccarino's right here, and she's got to sell advertising.
Absolutely. So, totally. No. Actually, what this advertising boycott is going to do, it's going to kill the company.
And do you think that the
and the whole world will know that those advertisers killed the company, and we will document it in great detail.
But those advertisers, I imagine, are going to say, we didn't kill the company.
Oh yeah.
They're going to say,
tell it to Earth.
But they're going to say, Elon, that you killed the company because you said these things, and that they were inappropriate things, and that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform, right? That's what they're going to say.
And let's see how Earth responds to that.
So this goes back to
we'll both make our cases,
right?
And we'll see what the outcome is.
What are the economics of that for you? I mean, you have enormous resources, so you can actually keep this company going for a very long time. Would you keep it going for a long time if there was no advertising?
I mean, if the company fails because of an advertiser boycott, it will fail because of an advertiser boycott. And that will be what bankrupted the company, and that's what everybody on Earth will know.
But what do you think then of this goes back to the idea of trust, though.
Then it'll be gone. And it'll be gone because of an advertiser boycott.
But you recognize that some of those people are going to say that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform. And I just wonder and ask you and think about that for a second.
Tell it to the judge.
But the judge is going to be...
The judge is the public.
And you think that the public is going to say that Disney is making a mistake?
Yes.
And they're going to boycott Disney?
They already are.
Well, there are some that are for lots of different reasons, but you think that this is going to, that you have this goes to actually the interesting of power and leverage.
Let the chips fall where they may. Let the chips fall where they may.
Can I ask why that is the approach? And I ask it because you've been
What's the other approach?
Well, you've been very particular about the approach to Tesla. When you think about the engineering involved in that, the approach to SpaceX, the approach to some of the stuff you're doing with AI has been very specific, right? There's not a let the chips fall where they may approach to those businesses, I don't think.
No, we focus on making the best products. And Tesla's gotten to where it's gotten with no advertising at all.
I understand that.
Tesla currently sells twice as much in terms of electric vehicles as the rest of electric car makers in the United States combined. Tesla has done more to help the environment than all other companies combined. It would be fair to say that, therefore, as a leader of the company, I've done more for the environment than everyone else, any single human on Earth.
How do you feel about that? No,
How do I feel about that?
Yeah, no, I'm asking you personally how you feel about that, because we're talking about power and influence and
I'm saying what I care about is the reality of goodness, not the perception of it. And what I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil. Fuck them. Okay?
Let me ask you this, because I think part of this, by the way, there's some people who said, look, owning X to begin with has just created problems, that you've created so many amazing things that are changing our world. And I know you want to make X this fabulous town square free speech platform, but that unto itself that has created such a distraction of all of these things. This is the conversation we're having. We're not focused, or we're not talking at least yet, and we will. On Tesla, you have your Cybertruck deliveries tomorrow and everything else that you're doing. But
yes,
is there any...
it will be the biggest product launch of anything by far on Earth this year.
Is there any part of you, though, that just says, you know what, I just shouldn't have done this, or maybe I should sell it or give it away or do something else with the X piece of it?
Yeah.
Given the propensity for some of the things that you do and say on that platform to create these issues.
Yeah. Of all the posts I've done on the platform, I think there might be 30,000 or something like that.
Right.
Once in a while, I will say something foolish. And I have. And I would certainly put that comment, that you said the actual truth, among perhaps one of the most foolish, if not the most foolish thing I've ever done on the platform. And I did do my best to clarify afterwards that, I certainly do not mean anything anti-Semitic in that. The nature of the criticism was simply that the Jewish people have been persecuted for thousands of years. There is a natural affinity, therefore, for persecuted groups. This has led to the funding of organizations that essentially promote any persecuted group or any group with the perception of persecution. This includes radical Islamic groups. Everyone here has seen the massive demonstrations for Hamas in every major city in the West. That should be jarring. Well, a number of those organizations received funding from prominent people in the Jewish community. Right. They didn't expect that to happen. But if you generically, right, without condition, sort of fund, if you fund persecuted groups, in general, some of those persecuted groups, unfortunately, want your annihilation. And what I meant by that, when I subsequently clarified, is that it's unwise to fund organizations that support groups that want your annihilation. Is this coming across clearly?
Yeah, no, it is. My question to you, though,
I think logically this makes a lot of sense.
Is there any part of you, just tell me what happens, though, once all this happens?
Let's say you fund a group, and that group supports Hamas, who wants you to die. Perhaps you should not fund them.
Right. But you do.
Thank you.
you do appreciate that when you wade into these very delicate waters at these very delicate times,
Yes.
that it can create a real, I mean, as it created headlines for the past 2 weeks and economic impact. I'm just so curious what in your brain when you see all this happening. I think are you sitting there going, "Oh my God, I stepped in it. I wish I didn't do that"? Are you saying, "Screw them. I hate these people. Why are they after me"?
But all of that. Yeah, all of that. I mean, look. I'm sorry for that tweet or post. It was foolish of me. Of the 30,000, it might be literally the worst and dumbest post that I've ever done. And I try my best to clarify 6 ways to Sunday. But, at least I think over time it will be obvious that, in fact, far from being anti-Semitic, I'm in fact philo-Semitic. And all the evidence in my track record would support that.
Let me ask you this, though. There are people who say crazy things on X, as you know. Maybe you think they're crazy, maybe they're not.
The aspiration for X is to be the global town square. Now, if you were to walk down to, let's say, Times Square,
right?
Do you occasionally hear people saying crazy things?
Yes, but they're not. But they don't have the megaphone, right? And that's the conundrum. Right?
No,
they can only say it to the 50 or 100 people that are standing there in Times Square.
They don't have a I mean, look, the joke I used to make about old Twitter was it was like giving everyone in the psych ward a megaphone. I'm aware that things can get promoted that are negative beyond the sort of circle of somebody simply screaming crazy things in Times Square, which happens all the time. It's pretty rare for something, frankly, that is hateful to be promoted. It's not that it never happens, but it's fairly rare. I would encourage people to look at, for those that use the system, when you look at the feed that you receive, how often is it hateful, and over time has it gotten more or less hateful? And I would say that if you look at the X platform today versus a year ago, I think it is actually much better. I mean, what is your personal experience?
Are you surprised?
I'm just curious. You use this?
I use the platform religiously. I will admit to being an addict, and I use the For You, and I will say now the problem is, because I'm a journalist, I go looking for stuff.
Well,
I'm just saying. And because I also think the algorithm for me personally, because I'm looking for stuff, also is feeding me other things.
This is actually a challenge in that, like sometimes people will say, like, why is it showing me, posts from this person that I hate? And we're like, well, did you interact a lot with this person that you hate? Well, yes. Well, therefore it thinks that you want to interact more with this person that you hate. That's like a reasonable.
Let me ask this.
You kind of want to have an argument.
When you tweet,
yeah.
Do you ever post? Let's say post. When you post,
listen, I'm open. If anyone can come up with a better word, that would be great.
When you post, though,
but the least bad word I can think of is post.
When you post, though, are you trying to rile up either a base or an audience? Do you recognize the power you have in that? And also, by the way, not just rile up one version of side of it, but also rile down, which is to say, as I said, there are people who are demonstrably anti-Semitic on the site. I get Jew boy things and all sorts of things that come my way.
Hey, for a while they thought I was Jewish, so they would, I'd get it too.
But the question is,
my name is Super Jewish.
Do you ever think to yourself, you know what? I'm going to go online and I'm going to say, these people, I condemn these people that are on my site saying these things. Because
I have said.
You say I've condemned anti-Semitism, but do you ever go?
Yeah, I said I've condemned. I literally posted I condemn anti-Semitism in all its forms. Like that is a literal post that I made. I'm like, listen, if I can get out the thesaurus, if you and we could,
Let me ask you a different question.
You compose it, I'll post it.
Okay, let me ask you this. You were on a podcast about a month ago, And you said something that struck me, and it struck me as accurate, came out of your mouth, so hopefully it is. But I'm hoping we go deep on this.
Just because it came out of my mouth does not mean it's true.
No, but you said my mind is a storm. I don't think most people would want to be me. They may think they want to be me, but they don't know. They don't understand. What did you mean by that? What was your mind being a storm? And I think it. I mean, I have known you for quite some time. I think it is a bit of a storm.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, in as much as a weather metaphor makes sense, my mind often feels like a very wild storm. I mean, I have a fountain of ideas. I mean, I have more ideas than I can possibly execute. So I have no shortage of ideas. Innovation is not the problem. Execution is the problem. I've got a million ideas. I mean, I've got an entire design for an electric supersonic vertical takeoff jet, but I just can't do that as well. I've had that for 10 years. I mean, there's a million things.
But is your storm a happy storm?
No.
It's not a happy storm.
No.
Tell us about that, because I think that actually, when people try to really understand you, I think that there's a lot of this comes from some other place, and I want to talk about that. What do you think that is?
we should need like a psychiatrist couch here or something. I think to some degree I was born this way, and then it was amplified by a difficult childhood, frankly. But I can remember even in happy moments when I was a kid that it just feels like there's just a rage of forces in my mind constantly. Now this, productively manifests itself in technology and building things for the most part. So, and I think on balance, the output has been very productive. I think the results, as we discussed earlier with SpaceX, Tesla, PayPal, which is still going today. The first internet company that I started, in fact, the first internet company I started, Zip2, was funded by a New York Times company, Hearst Knight Ridder, and in fact, we wrote some of the software for the New York Times website, and we helped bring online several hundred newspapers that previously were only in print. Now this is in the 90s, which at this point is I'm like a grandpa, basically. The 90s and internet feels like a Precambrian era when there were only sponges. Anyway, so I feel like a lot of productive things have been done, and you can also look at Tesla as being sort of many companies in one. Like our supercharging network is, if the Tesla supercharging network were its own company, it would be a Fortune 500 company by itself. Just the supercharging system. We also make the cells. We build the power electronics and the powertrain from scratch. We have the most innovative structural design, the largest castings ever used. We have the best manufacturing technology at Tesla, better manufacturing technology than companies that have been doing it for 100 years. So these demons of the mind, are, for the most part, harnessed to productive ends.
Okay, so let me ask you a question
but that doesn't mean that once in a while they, go wrong.
And this is a question I think a lot of people, are always trying to figure out about not just you, but sometimes themselves. Meaning, what is driving all of this? You're doing all of these things. Do you think that you would be as successful, whatever success is, if it wasn't being driven by I think that there's something you're trying to prove either to yourself or to somebody. I don't know. We're all trying to prove something. Maybe I'm trying to prove it to my mother. I don't know.
No. If I were to describe my philosophy, it is a philosophy of curiosity. I mean, I did have this existential crisis when I was around 12 about what's the meaning of life? Isn't it all pointless? Why not just commit suicide? Why exist? I read the religious texts. I read the philosophy books that, well, especially the German philosophy books, made me quite depressed, frankly. One should not read Schopenhauer and Nietzsche as a teenager. But then I read Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is a book on philosophy in the form of humor. And the point that Adams was making there was that we don't actually know what questions to ask. That's why he said that, the answer is 42. Like, basically, Earth's a giant computer, and it came up with the answer 42. But then to actually figure out what the question is, that's the actual hard part. I think this is generally true also in physics. At the point at which you can properly frame the question, the answer is actually the easy part. So my motivation then was that, well, my life is finite, really a flash in the pan on a galactic time scale. But if we can expand the scope and scale of consciousness, then we are better able to figure out what questions to ask about the answer that is the universe. And maybe we can find out the meaning of life, or even what the right question to ask is. Where did we come from? Where are we going? Where are the aliens? Are there aliens? These questions. And is there new physics to discover? Or is this, because there seems to be some real questions about dark matter and dark energy. And so the purpose of SpaceX is to extend life beyond Earth on a sustained basis, so that we can at least pass one of the Fermi great filters, which is that of being a single planet civilization. If we are a single planet civilization, then we are simply waiting around for some extinction event, whether that is man-made or natural. But if you're a single planet civilization, eventually something will happen to that planet and you will die. If you're a multi-planet civilization, you will live much longer. Also, a multi-planet civilization that's the natural stepping stone to being a multi-stellar civilization and being out there among the stars. So now this, I think, has two. This is not simply a defensive motivation, but it is also one where that gives meaning. Man's search for meaning.
Can I ask you different?
Let me finish this philosophy point, even though it may seem rather esoteric. It may resonate with a few people. We must get past this Fermi filter of being this great filter of being a single planet civilization. And if we do that, we're more likely to understand the nature of the universe and what questions to ask. If you're a believer in the philosophy of curiosity, then I think you should support this ambition. But it's more. Being a multi-planet species is more than simply life insurance for life collectively. That's a defensive reason, but I think also that life has to be more than simply solving one sad problem after another. There have to be reasons where you wake up in the morning and you're happy to be alive. There have to be reasons that you have to say, why are you excited about the future? Like, what gives you hope? And if you aren't sure, ask your kids. And I think the idea of us being a spacefaring civilization and being out there among the stars is incredibly inspiring. and exciting and something to look forward to. And there need to be such things in the world.
Let me ask you a different question about confidence. We were having a conversation here earlier about people and where people get their confidence from. Some people have great insecurity. Other people have great confidence. And I was thinking about you because you have a very interesting history where people have told you over and over again that you're wrong.
Well, sometimes they're right.
Well, sometimes they are, but I would say that when it comes to Tesla, when it came to SpaceX, people told you that you were crazy. You were out of your mind. This was never going to happen. This was never going to work. And so the reason I ask you this, is now when people say you're wrong, this isn't right, do you look at that and say, you know what, that's like a red flag for me because, you know, I've been told so often that I'm wrong that I know that I know I'm right because I've had that experience. Or are there people in your life when they say, you know what, Elon, this is not right? Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think what you're sort of trying to say is that do I at this point think because I've been right so many times when others have said I'm wrong, that now I perhaps believe I'm right when in fact I'm wrong?
You did very well. What do you think?
No, I'm right. Look, here's the thing. Physics is unforgiving. Physics is unforgiving. So, I mean, I have, you know, these various little sayings I've come up with, that physics is the law and everything else is a recommendation.
Right.
In the sense that you can break any law made by humans, but try breaking a law made by physics. That's much more difficult. So if you are wrong and persist in being wrong, the rockets will blow up and the cars will fail. Right. So this is, we're not trying to figure out what flavor of ice cream is the best flavor of ice cream.
Right.
Like, if there's 1,000 things that can happen on a rocket flight, and only one of them gets the rocket to orbit. And so being wrong results in failure when dealing with physical objects.
But that's the interesting part. So now you've built these great companies that physically, the physics of them are enormously successful. So successful, arguably, that you have leverage over everybody else, right? Nobody else can do Starlink. Nobody else can get the rockets in space yet. Amazon and Jeff Bezos are trying, but they haven't yet.
I hope he does.
You hope he does?
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, but I actually agree with a lot of Jeff's motivations. I mean, I think, you know, he's, you know, and so. Let me put it this way. If there was a button I could press that would delete Blue Origin, I wouldn't press it. So I think it's good that he's spending money on making rockets too. You know, it's just perhaps he spend more time on it, but you know, it's up to him. But you know, I should make a point here. So nothing any of my companies have done has been to stifle competition. In fact, we've done the opposite. So at Tesla, we have open sourced our patents. Anyone can use our patents for free. How many companies do you know who've done that? Can you name one? I can't. At SpaceX, we don't use patents. So, I mean, once in a while we'll file a patent just so some patent troll doesn't cause trouble. But we're not stopping any. We've done nothing anti-competitive. We've done nothing to stop our competitors.
I'm not suggesting you are at all.
No, I just want to clarify for the audience because some companies have done anti-competitive things. I think the strange thing or the unusual thing about SpaceX and Tesla is that we've done things that have helped our competition. So at Tesla, we have made our supercharger system open access. We've made our charger technology available for free to the other manufacturers.